Hey guys, welcome back to Tell Your Dog We Said Hi. We are so excited to have you here. Again, my name is Jamie Shellington, and I am joined by my wonderful co-hosts, Karen Barlow and Jen Russell. Hi, ladies.
Good morning.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good,
Good.
The
good.
sun is out. It's a nice day.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful day. It is. And if you can tell, it's Christmas time. I've got a Christmas tree up back here. Did lots of decorating last night. A little premature for some. It's the week before Thanksgiving or of Thanksgiving, but I just needed it. You know, a lot of us needed a little earlier this year for some reason or another. So I jumped on
Turkey
that
tastes
bandwagon.
better with Bing Crosby in the background.
Right, I know. I just needed that warm and cozy, I think,
Yeah,
and capitalizing on the nice weather too. So putting things up when
Yeah.
it's not bitter cold
for
outside
sure.
either. We have a really fun episode this round. We are talking about some common myths. We'll call ourselves the little myth busters here. We're going to focus on some common things that we hear. Um, People kind of say in conversation or that come up when we have client meetings or client phone calls, initial calls, when they're seeking help with their dogs. And hopefully, this can provide a little bit of food for thought and some value as you step away after listening to this and, look at your dogs and maybe see things in a different perspective or in a different light. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about happy dogs today, kind of. So, the first myth I want to bring to our table here, our little round table, is a wagging tail means a happy dog. If my dog's tail is wagging, he or she must be in a good mood. And that can be a pretty dangerous myth, I will say, because we can really misinterpret a dog's emotional state if we are focusing on the movement of a tail and that's it. So I'm going to kind of just give my little piece here, but then ladies, I want you guys to chime in because we all have things to say around this. We've all experienced working with dogs that tails were wagging, but they were in very different emotional states. And
Mhm.
educating our clients on that. And I just actually did a lesson for my clients, all on what a wagging tail actually shows us. Um, Flat out movement of a tail, a wagging tail in general just means a dog is in some state of arousal or they're aware of something that's entered the environment. They're in some level stimulated. That can be in a good way, it can be in a negative way. Uh,
Mhm.
so there's a lot of other things we have to take into consideration, right? When we're talking about a
Yep.
wagging tail. And
Mhm.
every dog is going to be different. We can't even say that every dog's wagging tail is going to look exactly the same. There are hundreds of breeds out there that hold their tails differently when they're
Mhm.
relaxed or when they're stressed. There are dogs who have docked tails. So
Mhm.
it can be even more challenging to assess what that little wiggle butt is saying if we're
Mhm.
only zeroing in on the tail. So, from my standpoint, when I'm talking about this with my clients, um, I like to ask them to take a look at the context, what's going on, but
Mhm.
then also the position of the tail and
Yeah.
the movement of it. If anything is stiff, quick moving, very purposeful in their movements. That lends us to think that that dog may be in a more, I'm just going to label it stressed
Mhm.
state of mind.
Mhm.
When we think of a dog that's in a really relaxed state of mind, we think of loose and wiggly and not purposeful and just kind of all over the place type of thing. So if you just even zero it down to those two things, if you're looking at a dog and assessing their emotional state, loose, wiggly, and very kind of haphazard versus stiff, purposeful, stillness, tension, purposeful speed too, the speed at which that tail is going.
Mhm.
those things tend to really help us decide my dogs might be feeling a little bit stressed in this situation. We may not want to approach this dog that's stiff and staring at us and their tail is high and
Mhm.
wagging really stiffly like this. That may be a sign that we should back off. What do you guys have to say about that?
I agree. I tell my clients to look at their whole body, not just
Mhm.
the tail. Look where the ears are, what their eyes look like. I say they're happy if their whole body is like, oh my
Right?
God, like
That
everywhere.
helicopter
Like,
tail, right?
yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So I
Even
tell them,
the helicopter, though, sometimes can be a little bit,
yes.
when you're talking about a whole body, for
Yeah.
sure. Gypsy used
Yeah.
to be a helicopter dog, and I
Right.
used to
Yeah.
love that about her tail. But
Mhm.
girlfriend had multiple body language, communicators going on. So it
Yep.
was, and that's just, I think all of us can agree and say, the tail is probably one of the bigger components because it's
Mhm.
it's
Big
it's right
indicator.
there.
It's right
And
there.
I mean, if you've got a dog with a bigger tail, and then who doesn't want to look at the cute little nubbies that are moving back and
Yeah.
forth or not? And I mean, it's kind of hard not to move your eyes away from
Yeah.
Yeah.
such a body part. But yes, whole body for sure. And you don't even have to be a behaviorist
No.
to really start to understand where your dog is coming from.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that all of us are so good about making sure our clients understand their dog's body language.
Yep.
And yes,
Yes.
I do my clients get a whole video on it, and it's a lot, but
Hmm.
you break it down as you need to, and you start with your dog, and then you
Yeah.
Hmm.
start actually after you do that, you start looking around at other dogs, and you
Oh
start
yeah.
Yeah.
start looking, and you're like, wow, and you become more observant, and you just become a little
Yes.
better at it. So when people are like, oh, that's too much. Okay, well, we start with just your dog. And,
Mhm.
Jamie, you were mentioning too, like just in many different opportunities, in many different cases, take a look at your dog when they're sleeping, when they're doing this,
Hmm.
and just really kind of and figure out what does the body language look like for your dog in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I,
again, the tail is just one component, but it's always the first thing I think many people see.
I mean, you want to, yeah. I mean, I try to break it down nose to, tip of nose to tip of tail,
Mhm.
and even keeping a journal or something because there's a level of further cognition that we have when we write things down, and we can even look at it over and over again. But um, yeah, when your dog is resting or seemingly relaxed, all is right with the world, nothing really stimulating is going on, ear placement, tail placement, how do they hold themselves, their mouth. Are they panting, kind of relaxed with their tongue sticking out? All of what do their eyes look like? And then when they're joyfully playing, what does that look like? Now, where are they holding their tail, their ears, their body movements? Um, and then when they're stressed, if they are, I never want to purposefully have someone put their dog in a stressful situation to assess anything. We don't want to
Right.
do that. But if you find your dog is in a situation, even information gathering, they're not stressed, they're not happily just kind of joyfully wandering about. Something's entered the environment and they're just assessing it. What does that look like? I have, two retrievers, but both very different. And they hold their tails differently. And you can see, I pay attention to their mouths and their ear placement and all of those things as they're gathering this information about what
Mm.
is this thing that I'm looking at or that I'm hearing. And then, yeah, if they are really agitated, what is that body language saying
Mhm.
to us? It's the whole dog. We can never get all of the information from one snippet piece of body part. um and I think that that's the thing is people, you're right, people do zero in, the tail is right there, It's right in your face. Even if it's a Chihuahua, it's up there going like this. That's what we're looking at. We forget to look at the fact that the dog has, wide pupils. Their lips are pursed forward and they're growling and their paw is raised or they're backing up and they're very tense. We're just looking at this tail. So I must be able to reach my hand down and say hi,
Yeah.
right? No, we don't want to do that. We want to give this dog some space, right? And we'll get into this someday too. The reaching to say hi. That is another one that maybe we'll do. Social etiquette with dogs as an episode one day. But yeah, I mean, it's like this thing in our face, right? So we focus on it, but way beyond the tail, people. I agree 100% too that you start with your dog. Start with your dog.
Yeah, I tell my clients all the time, watch your dog. You'll learn more from them and their body language than I can tell you what's going on with their tail. I mean, I know what's going on with my boys and that, from watching them and everything, but you just need to watch your own dog and learn.
And I don't want to digress too much, but I think there's huge value in sitting and observing, and not even just body language and movement, even though it's super telling and it tells us a lot about our dogs, what activities they're engaged in. What are they doing? Are they observing? Are they using their eyes and observing? Are they smelling? Are they hearing?
Sniffing.
Are they digging? Are they chewing? But stop intervening all the time.
Yeah.
And let's just observe them and learn a little bit about who they are and their preferences. I think there's huge value in that. That's a completely different topic, but yeah. And then go to a dog park and sit on the outskirts and watch that.
And watch it. Yeah.
And just kind of watch. And it is really valuable to learn about canine body language if you are a dog family, a dog person, if you care for a dog. And it is a whole nother language that we're learning. And you don't have to know every single nuance to be really, like, to your point, Jen, to really be able to be well versed around what you feel your dog's emotional state is. You can, if you get the big stuff and some of the little stuff, that's a lot. You don't have to go to school and have a degree and study it 24/7 to be well versed. No, not
I think
at all.
people probably feel like, oh, my dog's wagging a tail and not growling. I think they listen for that verbal communication. And I think that because that does speak more volumes, no pun intended, but I think that that's something that people tend to look for. And if it's not present, then, oh, we're not in such a state that, this can't happen or you can't approach or, whatever it is that's going on in the moment. And, I mean, I can say that Murphy doesn't growl right away either. I mean, he's a hair boy. He's that pile of erection. I mean, he's got that ridge and that goes up right away. However, again, that's not always going to be an indication of something negative. It's just he's engaged and he's like, I see a squirrel or I see a person, or you said bone. Like, he's just like, oh, chicken. So, I mean, it just really depends on the context, and you have to just look at the environment, what's going on, and just look at your dog and just kind of take. And even if you have the opportunity just with your phone, like just, record yourself,
video.
Oh, you're here, like I this is what I'm seeing, and then play it back so that you're not taking the time off of
it really is.
because you're not looking down to write, you're just literally staring and recording yourself. And thank God for technology in that way. Or you have somebody else with you who can manage your dog very well, and you just kind of watch. And so it's really important to just do that.
That's a huge tip, is to record your dog and play it back in slow motion. And, this is something that professionals do all the time, not just with client dogs, but with
our own.
And we miss things or, oh, I missed that signal there. And to your point, growling is one of those loud signals, right? That's the loud communication. And when my son was younger, when Hunter was younger, we used to tell him when he wanted to say no to something, we said, use your transformer voice. And he was like, no, when his sister was doing something or whatnot, because he was such a quiet little boy. And it's kind of that way with our dogs, is we have micro signals, these micro communication signals that we need to pay attention to, because if we don't, then they start to get louder, which is the growl, the snarl, the snaps, the lunging, things like that. And we don't want to push our dogs to that point. And
Right.
again, to your point, oh, my dog's not growling, I should be able to keep advancing, right? Yeah, go up and say hi. They're not growling yet. Don't push your dog to that. If we know that they're uncomfortable with their body language, or we're like, oh, yeah, I know his tail's wagging, but he's really uncomfortable around new people. This is actually just showing that he is still uncomfortable, and I think he needs space. If our dogs start to learn that we hear these smaller communication pieces, and we aren't forcing them in a position to use that transformer voice, that loud voice, that's really, really powerful within
And
our
they'll still use
relationship.
those.
And they'll
Yes, they'll
still
still
use
use
them.
those.
Exactly.
You don't want to bypass that by any stretch,
Nope.
because, and then we can get into all of the never punish the growl and all that. But I think that, if you don't have to, if you don't have to get to that point, where your dog says, okay, you're not doing anything right now, so I'm going to.
So I will.
Yeah, so I will. Yes. And that is huge. I mean, we do it as well. It's just a matter of, okay, it's a very small thing. It's a very small piece of communication that, my dog is offering right now. And here's the deal too. You have to trust people when they say, no, thank you, not right now. You
Yeah.
have to trust people when they say that. And if somebody, it's not a personal thing. It's not, I don't want you near my dog. I don't like you. It's my dog is not okay right now, or
Yeah.
I'm sensing that she is not feeling it. So how about you just toss a treat, or maybe we'll try it another time, or
Yeah.
we're not really stopping right now and we're just going to go.
Yeah.
And I think that just avoids a lot of issues too.
Well, and if we can talk about even a human analogy with that, when someone asks us if they want, oh, would you like this? No, thank you. I mean, when we say no, or when we say no, thank you, or, we give a little, I'm not really looking for interacting with you, I'm going to come over here. It's the social skills of, okay, no worries, I respect that, and I move on, and I'm not going to push you any further. We expect that from one another. We feel safe in relationships, or we feel comfortable interacting with people when our boundaries, our personal space needs are being met. This is a requirement for our dogs too. So yeah, to your point, Jen, just because you love dogs, and it's wonderful that you love dogs, it doesn't mean every dog wants to have an interaction with you. And it's nothing about you. It is just a preference. It's a preference.
Yeah.
It is, I have my humans that are my little close-knit circle, and that's it. I don't really want to engage with anyone else. And that's okay. They shouldn't have to that degree.
Yep.
So
everybody has a bubble. We did that.
Everyone has a comfort bubble.
Everybody has a bubble, including your dog. And we went to personal space camp last week. That was our discussion for the week. That was our theme. And so, teaching kids to say, I need space. And you have to teach your dog to do the same thing. Not even that you have to teach your dog. It's just, you have to be mindful of what your dog is.
We have to advocate for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all different. I mean, I have 3 different dogs. I have 2 that would love to meet everybody. And the other one's like, I don't need to meet them.
Yep.
A little too people-y out there for mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I mean, my dogs are very different, and their needs are different. And it's, every dog. And so even if you have a really social dog who wants to meet all the people, then maybe that's the one that goes to the areas, or that is greeting someone at the front door while the other person or the other dog is, safely in a safe zone somewhere else chewing a bone.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's just really important that we look beyond the tail. We look at
Yes.
the whole dog, look at the situation, what our dog needs, and if we do listen to them, then they learn that we do hear them, um,
Hmm.
and that we are there to support them, and that just further strengthens our relationship and their trust in us, and it all just kind of compiles one onto the other. That was a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, another happy dog one, a little bit different. A tired dog is a happy dog. Um, yeah, this is a big one. And this is one that can get people in a little bit of trouble, actually, with their dogs in a couple different ways. I've had clients in the past who, um, very well-meaning, wanted a tired dog. Of course, we all do. We all want a dog that's content, right? And I'm
Content.
gonna pose that we reframe this. A content dog, a dog whose needs are met, is a
Hmm.
happy dog. However, a tired dog is a tired dog,
Yes.
and an exhausted dog is not necessarily a happy dog.
Happy.
And I think when people think of a tired dog, they think of a physically exhausted dog,
Hmm.
a dog that has been playing fetch for 35 minutes until they fall to the ground, or has gone on a 5 mile hike. And which there's nothing wrong with going on hikes or playing fetch in a reasonable way. So please do not think that we're saying don't do that. But running a dog until they're exhausted is not um, is not fulfilling what a dog actually needs. It's only one component. Healthy physical stimulation is only one component to a whole puzzle of what a dog's needs actually are. And every dog's needs are a little different because every dog is an individual, just like we are. But I've said this to my clients before, I'm sure you ladies have too. If you run your dog till exhaustion, your dog will get stronger over time, and stronger and stronger. It'll take, instead of a mile jog, it'll take a mile and a half, and then two, and then two
Too.
and a half. And unless you are a marathon runner, you do not want to condition an athlete. And I've had clients in
And
the
that's
past who
what
have
you're
done
doing.
that. That's what they've done. And
Hmm.
they've gotten
That's what you're
themselves into
doing.
a little bit of trouble. But
Hmm.
it's also physically not good, right? We don't go out, if you go outside and your dog is just kind of hanging, and then all of a sudden you chuck balls at 35 miles an hour or whatever that is. If it's not, I'm not a great thrower, so I don't know if it's faster than that. But if they go from 0 to full on running at top speed and then collapse from exhaustion after doing that for 15 minutes, on the body, that's so hard on the muscles. It's so hard on the joints. It's so hard on the tendons. It's so hard on the heart. It's not a healthy way of providing physical stimulation either. Um, all right. I kind of spoke on that a little bit. I want to hear what you guys have to say about that.
I see it a lot. I mean, do my dogs get walked every day? No. I there are days when I just want them to relax, and like I if I do take them for a 5 mile hike, say
Yep.
we went to somewhere new, the next day they're going to rest. I'm not
Hmm.
going to take them out and make them do it. We might go on a safari or
Yeah.
something, but I'm not going to make them do their usual walk or anything like that. Yeah, and like you said, all you're doing is building an elite athlete by making them run, 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 walk, walk, walk,
Yeah.
and that. Yeah. So, yeah.
My favorite word with this whole topic is balance.
Yep.
There has to be balance. And again, not every dog is the same. And I think
Exactly.
what people liken to happy contentment and calm is, oh,
Yeah.
he's tired, he's not in my face,
Mhm.
he's not bothering the
It's not
kids, he's
bothering me.
not barking, he's not, yeah, he's content because he's
Mhm.
sleeping. We did this, we did that. And one of the questions that, when I'm onboarding clients is, what is your dog's schedule like? Tell me what a typical day would look like for your dog. And even just reading the applications that we get for the rescue,
Mhm.
they talk about, physical activity and what type of activity is prominent in your home. Like,
Yep.
are you more of a couch potato? Are you a,
Hiker.
moderate, or very active? And, I mean, how people view themselves is how they view themselves, is their perception on activity. But
Right.
I think it's super important to understand that, you know, yes, physical is great.
Yeah.
And how you can manage that is how you can manage that.
Yep.
And you don't have to leave the house to have a physically active dog.
No.
Oh
Eh,
no.
I mean, playing a couple of games in here and
Hmm.
playing hide and seek and adding some mental piece in there. Even if it's really yucky outside, there's so many great things you can do
Hmm.
to to get your dog up and moving. And at any age, it really doesn't
Yeah.
matter. And we talk so much about enrichment. I think the three of us, when we have clients, and it's still such a new concept to
Hmm.
most people.
Yeah.
So, I think everybody automatically assumes that, oh, I just need to physically run my dog or
Physically.
physically
Yeah.
play with my dog. We have to go outside for this many minutes. And it's like,
Hmm.
they did not come with paperwork that says you have to do this,
Right.
and this. It's what you can do. And if you've got 15, 20 minutes, how can we make it the most purposeful for your dog at
Hmm.
his or her age and activity level and an ability and weight? And there's just so many things that can go into it. But yeah, I mean, I liken an exhausted dog or a tired dog to an overstimulated, tired toddler.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can get yourself into a lot of trouble with an overstimulated dog, thinking that's going to tire them out. And you can also start introducing some behavioral concerns with that. They
Well,
make
to,
choices, they're not
to
sleeping
that,
well. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, to that, I think a lot of dogs like that don't know how to settle.
They
Yes.
don't.
They
Yeah.
haven't allowed them to learn to settle
Their
in
Yes.
nervous
that.
system doesn't know how to be calm.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
No.
Which
So
And
that's when
people
they
are
go,
weird about
oh, let
that.
me take you for another walk because you're obviously not tired yet.
right. So true. Yeah. So true.
Yes.
I
And
mean, and
people are
it's
like, I have to force my dog to take a nap. I'm like, you're not
Not
forcing, but you're
forcing them.
introducing that moment, that time for
Yes.
decompression. You
Yeah.
did a walk, you did some enrichment, you did some snuggling,
Now
let them
just
sleep.
settle.
Let them
Hmm.
settle. And then if your dog is able and capable, even from the age of, I mean, if you look at a puppy, young puppies, they kind of collapse where they're at.
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, I'm done. And
Hmm.
let them settle. Let them self-soothe
Don't
and
move them.
don't
Yeah.
move them. Let them sleep for as much
Yeah.
as
Hmm.
they need to. And you know that puppies need like 18 plus hours of
I
sleep.
was going to say, yeah.
Good sleep, not like
Yeah.
I'm in your lap, like, sleeping for
Yeah.
20 minutes at a time sleep. Same
Yep.
thing with
Hmm.
a toddler baby. They do need routine. They do
Hmm.
need balance. And there's just so many things. I mean, I remember when, we would take the kids out and I'd be like, yes, we're going to get them home, get them to bed. I'm going to watch a movie. Oh, heck no.
Yeah.
They would be running around, losing their minds. Like,
You're
I
right.
Hmm.
need
It's balance. It is balance. And it's physical stimulation in a healthy way. It is
It's
mental and
mental.
emotional stimulation, and it's
Hmm.
connection. It's activities
Yes.
that we're connecting with them. I think that they crave that more than anything. A lot of dogs do. Um,
Hmm.
as opposed to just mindlessly throwing a ball or going on a walk and or a jog and not really connecting. You're just both doing an activity together but not really.
Hmm.
That connection
Yeah.
is really important too. But yeah, to your point, decompression is huge.
Hmm.
Resting and my girls right now are enjoying marrow bones while I'm doing this. It's a decompression activity. They're not sleeping, they're
Hmm.
resting, they're working,
Yes.
but it's a calm, low arousal activity, which is really nice for them. And it's a healthy mix and a balance of all those things that create a more content dog. And yeah, when the buzzword of enrichment, it's trendy. A lot of people are talking about, about enrichment in various ways. But when I do talk to clients or intake forms or whatnot, you're right. One of the favorite activities is always fetch. And there's nothing wrong with fetch in moderation. But there's so much more beyond that. There's so much more beyond just throwing a ball over and over and over and over again for a dog that they need. That's really just one minuscule little activity that some dogs enjoy. And
Mhm.
like you guys said, some dogs need more activity than others. And, canine sports, the variety of sports out there, again, great outlet, not the only thing. So then we
Yeah.
want to have other things. But when anytime anyone is doing any sort of a sport with their dogs, in a class structured setting, you will learn about canine conditioning and warm ups
Yes.
and cool downs
Fitness.
as well.
Hmm.
Fitness in general is so important when we're doing that. And unfortunately, I don't think it's discussed as much in just like the backyard activities we do with our dogs. And building our dog's ability to gradually get stronger if that's what you're looking for, as a goal. Because, yeah, we all need to be strong and healthy, but I don't run as an activity, so I am not going to condition my dogs to run as an activity.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Well, I mean, we could slightly jog a little, and unless something's chasing me, I don't run
short
either. So
distances.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like a bulldog. I
Right.
can go pretty short distances very fast for like 10 seconds.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
I
I'm
did.
huffing and puffing.
Yeah, we're winded. Yeah, and I think then physical. So if we talk about our dogs, so Karen, you take your dogs on long hikes and
Hmm.
adventures much more frequently than I do, with my girls, and similar dogs in structure.
Hmm.
But Lady, my lab, has a handicap foot. And
Hmm.
so she actually has a limitation anyway. So even if I were to want to tucker her out, her physical structure needs extra care on top of just her overall strength and whatnot. I have to take care of her handicap foot. And
Hmm.
so that even forces me to look at other things outside of, oh, well, what physical activity are we going to do to tucker you out today?
Hmm.
Mental stimulation, just engaging with me for five
Yeah.
minutes a couple times, in the morning, that gives them enough to then say, I'm going to snooze. I'm going to watch the
Hmm.
chickens. I'm going to do this. And they hang. But without that connection with me, without that little chase me game in the morning or hide and seek or find it, she's a little more agitated.
Yeah.
And you see the difference in that. And so, finding your dog's mix of needs, and it takes some
Yeah.
time. It's not every dog doesn't need the same thing, but
Yeah,
consider
I mean, Angus would be just as happy walking and sniffing. I mean, this morning we barely did a quarter of a mile in the
Yep,
dark, in the rain. And him and Bo were happy just walking around that field sniffing.
yep, yeah.
So,
So I think consider more than just exercise in the
yes.
exhausting your dog sense of
Hmm.
the word.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
anything
I like
else
to
on
tell my
that topic?
clients that if they are walking, like if that's what a client wants, oh, I love exercise. I want to bring my dog with me and I want to exercise and I think it's good for both of us. I usually tell them, listen, if exercise is your goal, go do that first
Yes.
or walk your
Hmm.
dog first and then go
And
out
then
and do your
exercise.
run and go do your steps.
Hmm.
Um, because it's not necessarily always enjoyable for your dog to
Hmm.
have to keep up at your pace and
Yep.
and your endurance and whatnot. So I always say, then go out again for your cool down, walk your dog
Hmm.
and allow them to sniff, and you're giving your body a rest, but you're also giving them what they need.
Again, you may end up with a dog that enjoys running.
Yep.
If I wanted to run with Peanut, trust me, he would love it.
Yep.
I mean, because he just loves to go full bore. So
Yep.
if I wanted to run with him, he would, but I'm like, I'm not running. so
You're over
so
that, huh?
he walks fast. So he's, either on a very long leash or off leash somewhere where he can run if he
Yeah.
wants.
There's been
That,
many dogs where I've said at the rescue, when adopters come, I'm like, if you're looking to reduce your mileage time, this is the dog.
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it just depends, and some dogs
Depends
might
on the
not seem
dog.
that they like it, but you maybe just give it a little bit of a shot,
hmm
just
hmm
see what they like.
Yeah.
But again, I do other things with Peanut so that I don't have to run with him every day.
Is he the one that likes to
Or
swim, or is he?
no,
He's the
no.
one that doesn't like to swim,
He's
which
the
is
one
so
that doesn't like
funny.
to swim. Yeah.
That'd be so good for him.
But speaking of that today, he followed a little friend dog right into the creek, which
Nice.
normally he would not even get in.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, I would love for him to swim.
He's the one that usually is on the edge of the pool, right? Where he's
Yes,
like
just sitting
watching
there
everybody
watching.
else and he just won't take that final jump.
No.
Yeah, I think
So,
that if again, I'm one to always take it back to human analogies. We all have so many things that we enjoy doing that fill our cup.
mhm.
Our dogs do too. It's not a
Yes.
one thing. And that this is a little different than just saying a tired dog is a happy dog, but um, giving our dogs a wide variety of activities that speaks
Mhm.
to their interests, their likes, and their needs is really important. And I'm actually going to flip this a little bit because there are going to be plenty of dogs that sleep all day that
Mhm.
aren't, you're not trying to tire them out. They're just hanging out on the couch all day. And it's not to say that they're not happy dogs, but we still owe it to them to engage with them, to play games, to introduce enrichment activities to them in one way or another. They may just be quietly waiting for someone to do that, and this is all,
Yeah.
they're just waiting. And so they may be happy, they may not be happy, and they may just be hanging because there's nothing else to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or our senior dogs that are slower moving, that again may not want to go for long walks, but may
Mhm.
want to go and sit at the park on a blanket,
Yeah.
or may want
Mhm.
some more food puzzles, or, food puzzles are so great for our senior dogs, or
Yeah.
any other activity just to engage their brain and move their body a little bit in a way that feels good for them. And
Yeah.
I think we can talk about enrichment all day, and that's not really what this myth busting topic was about. But I think as we move on to other topics and episodes, it's always going to weave itself in because
Mhm.
enrichment just plays such a huge role in our dog's overall health and well-being. And
Mhm.
For sure.
so things to consider, food for thought,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
There are so many different avenues we can kind of paths we can go down on all of these little topics. And
Mhm.
I do think I like the idea of we were chatting before starting this recording about doing little myth bites, here or there. And so just kind of talking about things that are common either pieces of advice or common, kind of misconceptions about interactions with dogs or dog behavior or whatnot. And again, maybe just some other food for thought pieces. So I'm going to pose this to the listeners. If you have a topic or a quote unquote myth that you think is out there that you'd like us to chat about, please comment on this video or shoot us a message and let us know, and we'll add it to the Myth Bites section. And we'll be trickling those, I think, through our episodes here or there. And we'll probably do
Mhm.
little like 15, 20-minute episodes on one bite at a time. Oh, no pun intended. Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I know we did. And
Mhm.
we will be back for another episode very soon. As you, again, the holidays are here, so I think we'll be trying to do at least one or two more before the year is out, so that we can get a few more in here. And in the meantime, I will end as I now have started to end routinely. Enjoy your holidays and tell your dog we said hi. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.